Hey guys, welcome to Farah Show. My name is Farah Guerrier. I am your host of Farah Show. It is such a pleasure to see you tune in one more time for another episode. Today's episode we will be discussing on how to get out of debt. This episode is actually sponsored to you by Junie's Electronic in Spring Valley, New York. We will be discussing various options available to you on how to get out of debt. There are so many factors, there are so many different reasons why people is into debt. We need to analyze everything and figure out what would be the best plan for you. There are options. The first option, you could get organized, find out who your creditors are, try to work out a plan with the creditors. You could change your lifestyle. You could also even file bankruptcy. Now, we don't know what is the best option. There's also debt relief plans out there who's able to help you. Now, we not saying that those are the only options, but you need to take a look at those options and find out if that will work for you based on your situation. Everybody's situation is different. There are people who just need that extra income so they could catch up. There are people who's not even able to do it at any time. They just can't do it at all. Their lifestyle does not allow them to actually pay this debt. Even if they're paying the minimum, they will spend 30, 40 years before they actually could finish paying that debt. So we will address each of those items one by one and show you different options, and you make that determination on which one will be best for you. Now, first, we need to get organized. We need to create a plan on what we're going to do. We have to figure out how many people do we owe, how much do we owe them, and how we're going to pay them back. First, you know your salary. Your salary doesn't change. You might have to get a second job. Not everybody could get a second job. If you cannot, you have to work with what you have. You might have to change your lifestyle in order for you to do this. Remember, this plan is only a temporary plan. It's not a full-time, it's not a lifestyle, but it's only a temporary plan. So you have to adjust your lifestyle. Because obviously your salary does not permit you to continue with the lifestyle that you're living right now. So you have to make some changes. For instance, all the stuff that you're dealing with, or those expenses that you have that is not necessary, that you could live without, get rid of them. Those are important factors you need to understand. Now, first, we're going to get organized. We're going to take a look at your credit. You have to list all your creditors one by one. List your creditors, the balance that you owe them, the required minimum payment that you owe them, and the rate that they are charging you on that line of credit. I don't know if it's a credit card, a loan, I don't know if it's student loan, I don't know what it is, but whatever debt that you have out there that you have to pay a creditor, you're going to have to list them all one by one. Do not hesitate. List them all one by one. That's the only way you can get out of debt, is by finding out exactly who you owe, how much you owe, and what is the interest rate they're charging you. From that, you're going to take a look at your options. If these debts mount up to a point where you cannot pay the minimum payment, you can't meet the minimum payment after you pay your necessity, which is basically your rent, food, the place where you live, food on the table, your transportation, and your job expense. Those are non-negotiable. You need to be able to go to and from your work, so that's not negotiable. Whatever the cost is, you can't negotiate that. You have to have food on your table. You got to eat. The other thing, you have to pay a roof over your head. That's non-negotiable. Now, the thing is, going out to dinner is negotiable. It's not necessary. It's not an expense that you need. Buying a Gucci bag is negotiable. You don't need that. You can't afford it. So therefore, you have to take a look at your lifestyle and start making adjustment. All of that will play a role in how you're going to pay that debt. Now, you cannot put any more debt than what you have. You got to stop that. You need to stop putting more debt on what you have. Even though you have a little balance left available to you, do not use it, because right now you're trying to get out of debt. Instead of you using a card to buy a pair of shoes that you don't need, keep that credit card, that availability for an emergency. Let's just say that the roof collapsed and you need to get a new roof. That's an emergency. Then you could use that available balance towards that, because you have no other option. You can't leave your house that way. But keep in mind, you are not in a position to fantasize anything. You need to plan this out, have a little discipline, and remember, this is only a temporary solution. You're not going to be in this mess for long if you follow your plan. Now that you know who your creditors are, you're looking at your list, you're looking at your income, you know that you cannot make no more than just the bare minimum payment. Your options are, you could either contact the creditor, see if they will work out a plan for you, because they do have option to work out plans for people who has financial hardship. Financial hardship is just when you're not bringing in enough money to pay your debt. They will ask you to fill out a form. They will determine, based on the information given, if your financial hardship will qualify you for a reduced rate. Because once your reduced rate is, once they applied a reduction in your rate, you will be able to make those payments. More of that money that you're making, more of the payment that you're making is going towards the principal. It's gonna be more it's gonna help you pay off that debt quicker. The other option you have, you could take a loan. You could take a consolidation loan. There are companies out there are banks out there who does consolidated loan. Remember, back in 2008, 2009, and 2010, all these banks was going under, and they benefited from the top program that the government was offering. With that, they're able to help you. They are obligated to help you because of the government bailed them out. They're supposed to bail you out. That was the deal, and that was part of the top program. From back in 2008, Bank of America, Citibank, Washington Mutual, many of those banks went into, and they benefit from the top. The government had bailed them out. So they offer programs that will help you with your financial hardship. So see if they could reduce the rate, and then if they don't reduce the rate, see if you could do a consolidated loan. What the consolidated loan will do, it's gonna, even though the interest rate is high, you might get a consolidation loan for about 12%. But when you compare that to the 25% or 21% interest rate that you're paying on your credit card, it is a break. Now, with a consolidated loan, you could pay it in 3 or 5 years, compared to where you get one payment, compared to you making a lot of little payments at 21, 25%, and where it's not going too far. But with a consolidated loan, you have one amount. It's a steady amount. It's a constant amount for a period of time, either 3 or 5 years, depending on how the loan agreement was. The other thing is, you could do a settlement. If you receive some serious cash, let's just say you got your tax return, you know you cannot continue to pay those debts. You could do a settlement with the creditor. You could tell them, listen, I'm having a hard time. I cannot pay the debt. Would you be interested in settling with me? And then you negotiated the terms. Now, when you're looking at your creditor, when you're making the plans on how you're going to pay your debts, a lot of people would suggest, let me pay to pay off the highest interest, the one with the highest interest. But my conception is to pay the one with the less balance. Reason why, once you pay off that small balance, if I have a loan that's $10,000 and it's at 12%, and I have a credit card for $500 at 21%, I need to free up the lower the one with the lowest balance in order for me to free up my cash. I need to free up cash flow. Now, if I keep paying the $10,000, that's a higher balance, but it's going to take me time to free up cash compared to when I pay the $500, free up my cash. Now I could put more payment toward the $10,000. So on that note, I suggest that you use the smallest balance instead of the one with the highest interest. Look at your balance, see which one you're going to get out of the way. Because when you free up more cash, you could make higher payment towards the others. The other thing I would consider is a debt settlement. As I said before, the companies most of them are willing to work with you. If they know they're not going to get any payment, they know they're not going to get, especially the one that's unsecured loan, unsecured credit. If you don't make a payment, they lose money. So they rather get a little than not getting anything at all. They will work out a deal with you and try to settle the case with you. Now, the thing is, don't wait till when you go into delinquency, because when you go into delinquency, those are going to go into your credit. What makes it worse when you go into financial hardship, it's not the fact that you making the minimum payment, is the fact that you're not making any payment. That will be reported on your credit report. Now, the other thing that you need to understand also is your lifestyle play a big role into your debt. You living a lifestyle that you can't afford, and that's why you have to charge things. That's why you have to take a loan. That's why you going into debt. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. Like, for instance, if I like electronics, I want a brand new Apple phone. I know I can't afford an Apple phone right now, the latest, I don't know, the 13, whatever one that's out there now. I could walk into Junie Electronics in Spring Valley. I could tell them, listen, I want to buy this phone. Are you able to make a plan with me? I don't want to go into debt. I just want to know if you have a plan, a layaway plan, or some type of plan where I could actually make payments toward that phone until I could finish paying it off. They would not say no. They're getting money. They're getting business. They won't say no. I might not walk out with that phone, but at least I know I worked out a plan within my means. That phone is not necessary, so I don't have to get it at all if I don't want to. But at least I know there's an option out there. Now, another thing I want you to understand is when you're going into financial hardship to a point where your lifestyle, you can't afford the lifestyle that you live in, your credit is maxed up, you have delinquency, your collection agencies calling you all over the place, you're really basically struggling to make ends meet. You need to contact a bankruptcy attorney at that point. You don't wait till you take a dive. You don't wait till everything fall out. Call them now so they could guide you, so this way you don't have that bad experience. Because if you wait till you take that plunge, it's going to be devastating compared to an attorney who could actually give you options, telling you what your options are, telling you other ways that it could resolve this problem. I'm not saying a debt relief plan, a company can't help you. Yes, they can help you do the same thing. But the thing is, all the things that they're going to do for you, such as negotiating your rate, trying to get you a consolidated loan, try to settle with them, you could do that yourself. Just contact the bank and you'll be able to do so. It is a pleasure for me to bring all this information to you. Stay tuned, and we'll come back next week with another episode that will help you towards financial health. Thank you. Have a good night.